Are you wanting to feel more real, more of yourself, and feel more confident in order to do that? Well, today I want to talk about authenticity and confidence. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra special point for you then as well. Now, I've had this in a personal, professional environment in my life. For example, many times through my 20s, when I was dating a girl, I'd be like, better not tell her about this about me because that might make her not like me as much. Or hiding something about myself that perhaps I didn't think was like what every girl's dream was, right? Or something like that, right? And I've heard my mates talk about it as well. Like say, oh, I didn't tell her this, didn't tell her that. Now, obviously, we got to use a bit of common sense. We don't want to like first meet someone, you don't want to put all your like traumas or all your life story and everything on the table, right? There is obviously a way to go about it that obviously I've learned over time. Yeah, if you really try and lie about yourself, who you are, you can't be honest, that's going to come off to the other person, and not just in a romantic setting, in a day-to-day friendship, in a workplace setting, many different areas. And I've also had that in workplaces. I've had the case when I've been like, not sharing my interest, not saying what I like, not being honest about what I wanted to do. And it's really held me back and not allowed me to connect with people as much. And I found when I started being honest about what I like, my interests, I actually started to obviously I paid attention to the other people as well and really got an interest in them. I found like lots of people ask me about stuff. They'd be like, "Oh, you're writing books." I started connecting a lot more with people, and I felt really good. And it's not about relying on someone else to feel good. It does feel really good when you can connect with other people, though, for being just you, right? Tell me it doesn't, right? It's completely up to you. Personally, for me, when I'm authentic and I can be me, that feels amazing. Then going back to the romantic setting, or a dating setting, dating relationship setting, when I've been able to be more of me and she's found it funny or whatever, that's great. Now I've said something sometimes, and like one woman will find it hilarious, and might be touching my arm or whatever, and then just be smiling, and we get on really great. I've also like just said something, and then she just looked at, then the girl I was with at the time on the date might have just looked at me like blankly, like, huh. Right. So remember, our authenticity is going to be different in different people, and in the workplace and in friendships and everything like that. And I find I've always been, not always, but many years now, been able to make a lot of friends because I've just been me, right? Yes, I'm not everyone's friend in the world, yet the people I attracted to my life, it's for being me. Okay. And it can be quite hard, right? If you've lived a certain way, if you've got certain things about you and you hide yourself back, it's not necessarily something you're going to fix overnight. Yeah, we do want you to, I do want to give you something today that's going to allow you to feel more authentic. And therefore, when you can be more authentic, we're talking about being the real you, you can feel more confident in yourself. And there's something I would recommend if you've not come across this guy before. There's a guy called Gabor Mate. I'm probably not saying his name properly, but he's basically a Hungarian psychologist, I believe, and he talks about something in attachment versus authenticity. As kids, or as children, as infants, what we have is this desire to have authenticity. We also have a desire to have attachment because we need it to survive. We need attachment to our parents, to our caregivers, maybe to our teachers, right? A survival. So therefore, what we do is we sacrifice our authenticity, who we are. Now, depending on our experiences in growing up and these things, that is going to impact how authentic you can be, right? If you've got parents, for example, who encourage you to be who you are, and they give you maybe a bit of structure in place, and they're all learning on the job. Everyone's always learning on the job as parents. Maybe if you've had that experience with guardians as you've grown up, who's encouraged you to be you, encourage your behavior, your natural who you are, then you're going to feel more naturally inclined to be authentic. Now, you may also have some amazing people who grew up with you, but somehow they accidentally didn't promote you to feel as authentic as you could be, right? And different kind of experiences for all of us. Now, we go through life and sometimes situations happen to us and our child years, in our teenage years, then in our early adult, etc., etc. And these can impact us feeling authentic and actually, or willing to be authentic in who we are. And sometimes we lose that. And I certainly lost that because um, like many times I was like told off in school. I wouldn't be allowed to do the things I like to do sometimes, and I just try to be this funny guy. The teachers would tell me off of, finding silly books, silly pictures of books, and then I stopped being as authentic, right, in certain points of my life, just from that experience, right. So ask yourself this: how's it helping you by not feeling that you can be authentic? Because if you can't be honest with who you are and be authentic to you, that's going to damage your relationship with yourself and therefore your confidence going out in the world. So we're going to go through a few simple points today in how to do this, right? So the first thing I want you to do, and it's ideally if you can get a pen and paper out today and listen, or maybe if you're listening on the go, that's great. Type it on your phone if you're able to. If you're driving, obviously not, do it later. So list what is not authentic to you. Sounds a bit like an interesting way to start. What's not authentic to you? What does not? And be very honest. Maybe you're even like, for example, in a job, and the job is like really well paid. It's something maybe your family, your friends are like, wow, that's amazing. Oh, I'm so glad you got on this path. Yet there's something inside of you that's like, this isn't for me, right? Maybe you're in a relationship right now and that doesn't feel authentic. Any kind of relationship, maybe it's an intimate one, maybe it's a friendship, right? And start listing what in your life right now does not feel authentic. And then the next one is going to write what makes you feel most alive. Now, for me, for example, being creative, sharing stuff, being around certain individuals in my life makes me feel alive, right? So start listing like the people, the activities. What is it that makes you feel alive? Because these are the things that are going to connect you to more authenticity. And then the third question becomes, how can you add more of that in, right? How can you add in more of the stuff that makes you feel authentic and then remove some of the negatives? Now, obviously, use common sense and use a systematic approach to what's not working, right? Say you got a job and you're like, that does not make me feel authentic. Great, well done. You've identified it. That's amazing. Being honest with yourself. Right. You can't just go, I'm going to quit because you've probably got bills to pay, right? Right. There's got to be an approach to discovering what you want. Maybe hire a life coach or something like that, right? So get those lists down and then look at how you can change your life based on those. And things are going to change for you. Just don't be like, okay, this is authentic. This is not. My life is like that. No, things are going to change. Your experiences are going to change. Just checking in with yourself. Self-awareness is absolutely key here. Now, I've got a bonus tip for you as well. Just before I go on to that, though, what I wanted to say is if you have a particular topic for a podcast or a question that you want answered, let me know in the QA. Just answer the question there, and I can add that to my list of ideas for content for the future. It really helps me to know what you want more of as the listeners to this podcast. And once again, I'm very grateful for you being here today. So let's go on to the bonus point I've got for you today. So the bonus point is feel into love each day, feel into your heart. Because, and this sounds cheesy, right? And I'd never catch myself saying this maybe like 2, 3 years ago. I'd be very like driven in the personal growth space, but I probably wouldn't be as deep as this. It has made a massive impact on my life, though. And anything that makes an impact on my life, I want to share as much as possible. Find time to connect to your heart to love each day. And it can be difficult if you're in a very tricky situation. And this is not about like you going through grief, whether it's the death of someone, the breakup, a job loss, or a business loss. Like, and just going like, oh, they don't matter. I need to feel into love, right? You need to feel those things as well. Yeah, most of us, like, we're conditioned to be so in our head, so in our mind, that we actually lose touch of what's authentic, what's real to us, what do we really want to know, or what do we really need to know about ourselves to move forward and feel more fulfilled in our lives. So if you can connect to love on a regular practice, it is really going to help. Now, what I would suggest is a minimum of 10 minutes. Just sit there, hands on your heart, breathing in and out for a count of 6 seconds, because when you can change your breathing, you can connect more to your heart. And maybe combine that with some soft, gentle music as well. Think about think about something you love, or just think or someone you love, and just connect, right? And what I do, an advancement of this, is start sending love to people, even people you've fallen out with. Because when you can do that, I genuinely believe love is what is authentic in all of us, or the majority of us. Yet most of us forget it. We get into these fears, we get into these doubts, all these things come up in our life. And sometimes, like, we might look at someone and say, oh, there's no love about them. Well, maybe they just had some bad experiences in their life and they were treated badly. It's often said at school, right? A bully is only a bully because he or she's being bullied, right? Or they are being bullied, right? Well, I believe a lot of us are actually naturally loved. That's what we are. Yet we get these fears, we get this conditioning, these hard things coming into our life, and it takes us away, gets us into the mind, gets us into this fight or flight, this survival mode, gets us angry with other people. And it's not saying you shouldn't feel those things. You've got to feel those things in order to release them. And I can go into a great book I'd recommend on that is Letting Go by David Hawkins. By the way, that's a great book on working through emotions. It's not about dismissing them, repressing them, suppressing them. It's about actually feeling them and going through the right process. If you can make time to consciously connect yourself and love, that's going to create a high level of authenticity, right? Because you're going to listen to your heart, and your heart's going to tell you what you really want and more about who you are when you can connect in that space. So just 10 minutes, sit in silence. No, definitely no social media, no podcast, nothing. Even though obviously I'm great for you listening now. Just listen to maybe some music if you like it. Just listening to yourself, breathing in and out very slowly. Just count of 6 in and out, right? So that's something to add extra to really get connected and boost your authenticity. And therefore, that's going to make you more confident if you can feel what is more authentic to you from this mind chat. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.